This is Around the Globe with Dr. G. Hello, everyone. I want to welcome you back to Around the Globe with Dr. G. I am delighted to have as a guest of honor today Dr. Lisa Day. She is a doctor of philosophy and you are in academic management. Yeah, at what university?
University of Liverpool.
University of Liverpool. Oh, wow. How did you get there? Well, why Liverpool?
Why Liverpool? Well, because I work on the online programs, I can
Okay.
live in St Albans and work in Liverpool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. 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 Now, you could you give us kind of a background? Usually, I don't know. Maybe people fall into studying philosophy. Some people, maybe from the very beginning, have an interest in studying philosophy. How was that for you? Was that an area of study that from the very beginning you said, I want to study philosophy, or how did that?
No, not really, because say within the management school, philosophy of management doesn't go back much further than 1950. If I'm perfectly honest, it certainly doesn't go back to the Stoics. It does, there's nothing carved in stone about people management, although there are texts like Machiavelli and Sun Tzu and the Art of War, which talk a long way back. So my interest was always in management, how organizations work, how people in organizations work, how to get the best out of them, things like that. And within that, there is a whole philosophy around management, and that was my area of interest.
That's interesting. I never knew that there was actually philosophy relating to management. What are some of the tidbits?
Oh gosh, I suppose in honesty with management, it's that there is no truth, that everything is contested, that everything is contextual, and that's probably the biggest nugget with management is the answer to any question in a management school, if you're ever asked, is it depends.
Ah, wow.
If you start with it depends, so it depends on who you're managing, it depends on what experiences they've had, but yeah, so the whole philosophy of management in a nutshell is it depends.
Wow, it's interesting. It kind of leads me to another question when you said, "Well, there's really no truth. That everything does depend." I recall in the scriptures, Pontius Pilate said, "What is truth? What is truth?" And so, how do you deal? I know that you are a woman of faith. You have a faith background, and before we get into that, how do you deal with um, as someone that is obviously in the kind of management, in the kind of philosophy of management where really everything depends. How do you deal with that? How does that kind of intersect with um, your faith, where some things don't depend? It's just this is what it is.
Yeah, I think with my faith, I think it kind of it sits well in a way, because you have the whole sort of academic kind of truth searching, but much of academia is contested and lots of things have changed. And I think there is, when you work in academia, you realize that we know far less than we don't know.
Wow.
So I think in terms of my faith, there is a recognition that whilst many would argue it can never be scientifically proven, yet there are so many things that we don't know. And I don't know, there's an analogy that kind of always gives me more comfort than, say, we found this piece of a cross and we can carbon date it, and therefore we have this evidence. But this analogy with being in the womb. So when you're a baby in the womb, this is your whole world. This is the world. It is the entire universe. And if you were the smartest academic, when Einstein was in the womb, no matter how smart, he could never have known the world that existed beyond. could never have known that at some point he would go down a tunnel and there would be a bright light and he would meet his maker. And yet that's what happens when you're born.
Yeah.
So that sense of there being a world beyond a world, something that no matter how academic we are and how bright we are, we can never understand it, I think is powerful for me in my faith, in the not knowing and the not being able to prove.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So essentially, what you're saying is that you're comfortable with areas of faith that cannot be explained through any scientific data or any kind of logical reasoning.
Yes, because scientists are disputing their own findings all the time. Theories are being overturned. We know this much of this much, and in another 2,000 years, we might know that much. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, even the articles that talk about coffee, for example, I'm sure you've read articles that say, "Oh no, coffee is bad for you," and then a few months later, "Oh yeah, coffee is great for your heart."
Yeah, eggs had a massive crisis. Don't eat eggs. Now eggs are big again. Yeah, eggs will do you great. Yeah,
Oh boy.
exactly.
Yeah. If your faith was like that, one day you'll be jumping up. The next place you'll be down in the dumps.
And if your faith was dependent on carbon dating, and
Absolutely. That's a great point and analogy. Thank you so much for bringing that up.